heading into the matchup in San Francisco. Can Steph Curry do another encore performance? Friday night, Curry had 43 points, masterpiece to help the Warriors tie the series. It was the seventh time he's posted 40 or more in a playoff game in his career. How about 7 triples in game 4 in the series so far? 25 threes. Curry's 7 behind the record for most three-pointers, a record he set in 2016 in the finals. Curry so far averaging over 34 points per, highest scoring average in any of the 6 NBA finals he's appeared in. His Splash Brother weighing in.
It takes a lot of mental fortitude to stay hungry and want more and more after so much success, and Steph is the embodiment of that. The man is never satisfied. He just continues to mesmerize the world with his talent.
All right, let's put things into perspective here, and let's bring in a couple guys and somebody else also who knows all about shooting from the outside. Amari Stoudemire, as well as Vince Carter and J.J. Redick. J.J., let's start with you. Could this be the defining series here for Steph Curry's career, as it now is a best of 3?
I absolutely think so. And when you look at the context of this, the Warriors essentially being out of this stage for 2 years, him not winning a finals MVP yet, and clearly being the best player in this series. And then the context of going against this Celtics defense, which, as we know, was the #1 defense in the league this season, and looked so stout through 3 rounds of the playoffs so far. And what he's done against this defense is nothing short of remarkable. And I just want to comment on that Klay Thompson quote, which I love. And what Klay is talking about there is competitive stamina. And to me, that's what separates the greats from the all-time greats. And Steph has competitive stamina in spades.
Vince, you want to weigh in on what you've seen so far from Steph and what you need to see to close out this series?
Well, first and foremost, we've heard a lot of people say they thought Steph's legacy, which it is, was solidified already with or without an MVP. But people now have to say, you know what? He is earning and deserving of that MVP, and he is now opening that elite door that a lot of us didn't even know existed, of the greats who step into the next room where there's not as many people there, because what he's doing at his height, his age, and his ability to be a little guy to get into the paint and score, to like JJ said, his stamina to be able to just withstand and do all of the things he's doing with the movement and just playing lights out basketball. I mean, Steph Curry, if they win this, I think he deserves it, and he is showing it.
Amari, how would you define what you've seen the first 4 games from Steph?
I mean, he's incredible, man. If we sit back and watch his greatness and really understand what type of player we're witnessing here, like you know, the perseverance that he went throughout his high school career, not being recruited much, then going to college and becoming this great player, I think it's remarkable. And the way he plays the game is something that we haven't seen before. And yes, I feel like if he does win his finals championship this year, this is going to define his career. This is going to put him on another level. And we have to truly appreciate his greatness.
All right, so here's an interesting scenario. Does Steph need another 40-point game for the Warriors to win Game 5 tonight at home here, JJ?
He's got to score, and he's got to be great. I think the big question mark about this coverage is basically how do the Celtics play him in pick and roll? That's the big question mark going into Game 5.
So, whoa, just answer the question, though. Does he need to score over 40
Thank
points?
you, Kevin.
No, he doesn't need to score. No, he can have 38, and
Okay.
they could win. I mean,
Vince, does he need to hit that 40-point mark here? He had 43. They needed all 43 points.
Yeah, I think he needs it. I said 35 plus. I think he needs at least 35 to play. Because they're playing home, you're hoping that some of your guys will play a little better and give you a little more. They need another 20-point score to go with Steph. Obviously he's capable of getting 40. So I think JJ and I are really close together. I say 35 plus. He's saying 38, but below 40. So that means we're close. Right?
Okay, Amari, let's jump in here. It's for you now. Does he need to go over the 40-point mark to get a win tonight?
No, I don't think so. I think if he just have a great game offensively and his teammates step up and play well alongside of him, they will have enough to win the game. But I don't think he needs to have a 40-point game to win tonight. I think the Warriors are equipped to win, even if he doesn't, if he falls a little bit short of 40.
All right, what's your number here? Falling just short of 40. Is that 38? Is that 39?
Yeah, I'm with Vince in this. I think 35 and up would be a great mark for him.
Okay, now here's the next question here, because you guys understand the idea of shooting and getting hot in the zone. What does Boston need to do to slow Steph down here specifically tonight, coming off that pick and roll here, JJ?
Well, they've shown a real reluctance to blitz at all in this series. They've only blitzed Steph Curry 3 times in pick and rolls. They've played primarily drop coverage, and Steph has just eviscerated that coverage. For context, league best offense is 1.16 points per possession. When Steph Curry shoots in this series against drop coverage, he's getting 1.42 points per possession. He's absolutely crushing this coverage, and they've shown a real reluctance to blitz because of what Dallas did in that Western Conference Finals. When they blitz, the Golden State Warriors played 4-on-3 on the backside. They got open threes. They got back cuts for layups. That's why they're not blitzing. They don't want to get into rotation.
Too much agreement so far between Duke and North Carolina, Vince. I saw you shaking your head. Weigh in here. What do you think? How would you defend?
Exactly right. I mean, the best coverage, in my opinion, is get the ball out of Steph's hands. Steph's ability to move without the ball once he gets off the ball kills teams. At the same time, he's so unselfish, and now what that will do is get other guys going because they're seeing easy layups. They're getting easy buckets, uncontested layups, 4-on-3 on the back end, like JJ's saying. So it's kind of a situation where it's like, who are we gonna, dedicate or dictate who's going to be the guy to score for them? That's not Steph Curry, but you can't get in the drop coverage because of Steph's ability to do multiple things as well as shoot or get off the ball. So it's a lose-lose for Boston.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.